profusely, crying profusely, full of frantic and not able to talk straight. All she could say is, baby, where are you? In fact, she couldn't even have the strength to get those words out. Her voice was so elevated. Her cry was heard so greatly because she was full of frantic and she was panicking. She was panicking with every fiber of her being. She said, baby, where are you? She said, I'm bleeding. She said, there's a lot of blood. I ran into the house, got upstairs only to find my wife's face full of tears and panic because there was nothing but blood. You see, one of our greatest concerns for this season of our lives has been a miscarriage. Well, we had to leave the house, ladies and gentlemen. We had to leave the house. We were rushing out of the house, barely could put on all of our clothes. We had to get to the nearest ER. We got stuck in traffic on the way to the ER, only to get to the nearest ER. And they had to wait for about 20 minutes only for them to tell us that the ultrasound is not here. Yes, we can do a pelvic exam, but the ultrasound is not here. And with this type of blood, with this amount of blood, we needed an ultrasound. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we then had to leave that ER and had to go to another ER because the one that they recommended us to go to was going to put us 3 hours past the time we were already at. And at this point, I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to keep First Lady calm because all we see is blood, Jesus. We are in all of this trouble and not knowing how things are going to work out. So we get to an ER. We get there only for them to still have protocols in place. And they told us that I can't come in. So I had to look at my wife from the outside of the hospital while she was in the lobby for about 45 minutes. My parents, I called them. They were on their way. I told them, I said, Mom and Dad, I don't want you all waiting in the car. Go back home because I have to stay outside. They still have strict protocols. Unless you are the patient, no one else can come in until that patient has a room. And when that patient has a room, only one person can be in the room. That's the kind of protocols they had in place. Well, after about 45 minutes, she got a room in the back. I called her. I said, baby, is everything okay? She said, baby, I'm getting in the room now. They brought me to the room. I said, okay. I said, is it okay for me to come in now? She said, I don't know, just check at the desk. I checked at the desk. I told them that my wife was in the back, gave her name. And when they told me that she was back there, they asked if I was a visitor. I said, yeah. I said, I'm her husband. And I said, can I go back there? She said, yeah, you can go back there now. So I went back there to my wife. She's now preparing herself for all kind of tests. She's preparing herself for all kind of exams that have to be done now. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, what's so crazy about this is Thursday. Just Monday, we had an appointment. We ran tests. We had an ultrasound, and everything was normal. Everything was fine on Monday. Now here in Thursday, again in between Sundays, here in Thursday, on Thursday, we're dealing with an issue of blood flowing and not knowing what's really going on. Well, while she's getting herself together and getting prepared, now we see a mass of tissue falling with nothing but blood. I said, God, I don't know what's going on here. All right, I said, I don't know. My wife starts breaking down again. I'm trying to console her. I'm trying to keep her calm by being strong myself. And at this point, seeing tissue, there's only one thing that we could think. What I'm thinking in my mind is, all right, God, I still believe that something good can come out of this. But if it doesn't, if my wife wants to. If she wants to, we'll try again. We'll try again if she wants to. If not, we can adopt. It's okay. But we'll try again if she wants to. So we do all of the tests. She's still bleeding. Things are seemingly not changing at all. We get now to the last nurse who does the ultrasound. She takes the ultrasound, takes my wife on the bed, drives her into the other room where the ultrasound is. And the way the monitor is set up, my wife couldn't see it. I could barely see it from an angle, but she couldn't see it. And as my wife is on the bed, she's trying to turn her head without moving too much to see the monitor. I'm not preaching just to make you feel good. I'm trying to tell you something. She looks at the monitor to see what's happening on the monitor. She can't see anything. She asked the nurse, can you tell us anything? The nurse says, I can't tell you anything. And she was new. So she was being very strict with the rules because she didn't want to lose her job. And I understood it. She couldn't tell us nothing. And so I'm sitting there next to my wife while she's on the bed. And my eyes are closed because I don't want to see, based on the corner I was sitting in, I don't want to look up and not see an image. So I said, I'm going to keep my eyes closed. And I can tell my wife is just uncomfortable and concerned. And so something in the moment of this all happening, something says, open your eyes. Open your eyes. I opened my eyes and I looked at the monitor very quickly and I saw movement. I closed my eyes back. I closed my eyes back. I whispered over to my wife. I said, baby, I said, just calm down. I said, calm down. She's going to be okay. Everything is okay. Calm down. She said, but baby, what does that mean? I said, just relax, okay? We'll find out soon. Just relax. And so at this point, the nurse wraps up the ultrasound process. And the nurse says, she says, Mrs. Adams, okay, we're done. We're done. But she said, I want to echo what your husband said. If I were you, you need to relax. She said, you just relax. She said, what does that mean? She says, just relax. So she now drives us back to the other room. We're done with all of our testing. Now we have to wait for about another hour for results because our doctor is the only one who's certified to tell us what the results are. Only the doctor can tell us. No nurse, no one else can say it. Only the doctor. So we're waiting for an hour, and while we're waiting, more tissue falls. Blood is still there. And we're waiting, asking, praying, believing, concerned, and confused. All at the same time. Not either or, both and. We're all at the same time going through this conundrum of emotions, looking for answers, waiting for answers, not sure what's going to happen. The doctor comes in. When the doctor comes in, she says, Mrs. Adams, how are you feeling? She says, I don't know how to feel. I'm concerned. She says, well, I got good news. I said, okay, you got good news? What's going on? She said, the baby is fine. She said, the baby is fine. She said, what happened is, because there was no implantation bleeding at the beginning of conception, blood started storing up and forming. And she says, as the blood was forming, there was a pocket of blood that was forming, and it started collecting. So she said, as the baby was growing inside, the baby was actually sitting on top of the blood. Okay, you missed it. I said the baby was sitting on top of the blood. Okay, you missed it. She's telling us based on science and medical knowledge what the baby was doing. But I heard it in the spirit. The baby was sitting on top of the blood. Y'all didn't miss it. All right. Let me run it by you one more time. The baby was sitting on top of blood. Okay. She said what happened is now that the baby is getting bigger, the baby moved. When the baby moved, blood flowed. Okay, I said, all right, I got it. Baby is moving that was sitting on blood. And when the baby moved, the blood flowed. Okay, I said, I get that's the cause and effect. The baby moved because the blood flowed. But I said, really, the baby is moving because the blood had already flowed. Okay, all right now. So the baby is sitting on blood, moves, blood flows, all because blood was already there. Okay, I get it now. She said, that's what happened. She said, it may continue for a time. And yes, you're at a higher risk for miscarriage because of this knowledge. But she says, I'm not going to see you again. She said, everything is going to be okay and we're believing. I'm not going to see you again. I got to get out of here. But I came to tell somebody that I understand what it feels to be in between Sundays. I understand what it feels when things are looking like they've gone from bad to worse. I get it. But what I'm glad to say, and what I'm here to tell you, is that regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what's transpiring, when I see the blood, not in the sense of the doctor, but when I see the blood in the sense of what Jesus has done, it's not an indication of what's wrong. It's an indication of what's right. I came to tell somebody, I see blood. Yeah, Lord. As a matter of fact, I need somebody to put in the atmosphere. Everybody just shout the blood of Jesus. Yeah.